Welcome to the Purpose Driven Executive Podcast, where we help you go from making your work your life to making your life work. We share true stories, interviews, and experiences that will help you, the hero, in your quest for passion and purpose. Higher purpose, higher productivity. This is the Purpose Driven Executive Podcast. What's up, Sell Anywhere listeners and purpose-driven people? I am on today with someone that I met through the wonderful engine of LinkedIn because, wow, it's interesting how many people out there believe the same stuff that you believe. And she's been putting some great stuff out there. We've made some wonderful connection, and I felt like you really needed to hear about the one and only Amber Khan. And Amber, welcome to the show, by the way. And before you tell us what you do, what do you love, Amber?
Oh, I actually love working with people who are into, who are doing or working on giving projects, and that's what I love doing. Love supporting them. So I love speaking on their behalf. I love fundraising for them, and not all of it, or probably majority of it, comes from money. It's I don't make a dime from that, but I passionately love supporting such projects, ideas, and businesses.
Love it. And listen, sometimes we wander this earth for all of our lives before we realize who it is that we love. And you realized, Amber, that you loved purpose-driven leaders. And that was it was one of the bigger connectors, like right for us.
Exactly.
And you helped in a very specific way. So can you tell me why purpose-driven leaders for you? And then what is it that you do to augment and help these purpose-driven leaders?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, the answer is very simple. Why purpose-driven leaders is because that's who I want to connect with. These are the kind of people I feel that whose values align with mine, and I don't want to work with people who cannot understand, where our values lie, where we come from, and what we value most in this world. And it isn't really money. Money comes as a result of it, yes, but that is not at the forefront. And so I wanted to, for that reason, I wanted to specifically work with such people who have the same philosophy as myself, because otherwise it wouldn't work out. The relationships would go sour, and what's the point? So I decided that I want to only work with such leaders. And I currently help purpose-led leaders who are creating a meaningful, who are solving meaningful problems in the world, let's put it that way, stand out, reach more, and convert big using their existing content. But most importantly, the thing that I'm most proud of is that when someone invests in their company's future through our work, they're also creating a meaningful change in the world, because each month they choose to continue working with us. It helps us provide safe space and support for children in crisis for another month.
So you're not just looking for those people, you are one of those people. I love it. Now, there's a freedom that you said there, and I want to reflect this to my sales people who are out there. And I don't know if they picked up on it, but I'm going to reflect back to where you said that when you realize those were your people, that's who you serve. But that also by default means that there are others that you don't really serve. And so, Amber, the freedom that you're a fit for some people, but not for everyone. Can you talk about that? Because I notice it feels like that's a freeing place for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's simple, and that it's sort of marketing basics as well, because, if you associate, or let's say, when you start with what you believe in, when you share your philosophy, you will attract people who believe in the same, and you will detract those who do not believe in it. So automatically you will cut off people who don't like what you're saying or what you stand for and don't believe in. And those are exactly the kind of people you don't want to work with, because there will always be clashes, and the business relationships will never work out. And in fact, they may, even if you do end up doing business with them, it will become a grinding chore instead of actually enjoying what you do. So if it's a simple, I always say to other young entrepreneurs I speak to, is that this is where you want to start off, because we can't help everybody. We cannot be a jack of all trades. So to figure out who you want to work with, and who are the right people you want to attract, just share your philosophy with the wider world. And in today's age, we live in the social media world. That's the best way to share a philosophy with. And then we start to attract the kind of people who believe in the same philosophy. And it just, it starts from there, basically.
So, so I'm hearing the marketing guru speak out, because and I love that idea. And I want you maybe to take us into how that would practically look, Amber, because I know that you, being the person you are and knowing all of the things that you know in marketing, that didn't happen by you going and getting some degree. It happened because you became an entrepreneur and realized that you also had to be a marketer. Can you tell us about that journey and maybe some of the biggest lessons you've learned there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I started this journey almost probably, I don't know, some 15 years ago or something. And I didn't just start off knowing this is exactly what I want to do. It was a roller coaster of a journey. I started so many different ventures, and faced a lot of obstacles as well. But because of the journey that I went on, I learned some critical lessons. First being that even though some of the ventures didn't pan out, or I killed them before they became my liability, but do I regret starting them? Absolutely not, because not everything you do will work out, or will have the end you desired. But if you learn to enjoy the process, that is the journey itself, it will teach you life lessons you couldn't have learned at an MBA school. And secondly, I believe you don't have to. This is just another one of the lessons I learned on my journey, is that you don't have to have a coach or be part of a mastermind to take your idea off the ground. Those are just lies. Yes, they may help you propel once you are at a stage where you can make that investment to go to the next step. But at the beginning stages, all you need is self-belief and a couple of supporting people, be it family or friends. That's all. Not hustle, not money, not masterminds, but simply self-belief. And lastly, I would say that, you are a marketer no matter what business you are in. As a small business owner, no matter what you do, what you sell, what types of products or services you create, at the end of the day, if you cannot market or sell your product, you don't have a business, period. So all of the small business owners start off as being marketers. The roles and responsibilities may change as the business grows, but that's the hat you absolutely need to wear in the initial status of starting and growing your business. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't have any sales coming in, you basically have a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. What do you feel like you see people doing it, you coach people, you speak on this stuff all the time. What do you see people doing wrong, whether it's on social media platforms or just in other ways? Like, what are the top things that most of us are getting wrong?
I think a lot of us still do, even though it's, I'm sure, a lot of marketers, a lot of business experts talk about this, but still I see a lot of people get this wrong, is that they start talking about which is their product or service instantly. That's the first thing they do. Or they may start talking about the how, which is, this is the lessons, how do you do this? How do you do that? Which is good. Of course, we need to share our knowledge, right? But before we do that, because there's so much information out there in the world, right? There's so much choice right now for somebody who's starting off and who's looking for a resource to learn from. There's so much information. So how are you going to stand out, right? Why would they come listen to you or to your information that you're putting out there? So before we do that, we need to share our why. We need to share our philosophy. We need to share what we stand for, what we value, and what we stand against. That's how you create a following before we even go into share or tell them, oh, this is how you should do this is how you should do that, or this is my product, buy it, right? All the people, I think people get this sequence wrong. And a lot of people, myself included, initially I got it totally wrong, and I couldn't understand, why am I not able to sell this product or my services? It's so damn good, Everybody believes that their products or services are so damn good, but the fact was that I was also missing out on the fact that I didn't share my philosophy for people to understand who is this person, why should we actually do business with her, why her and not somebody else. So I mean, that's what I see the biggest mistake that people still making, especially in the online world.
So share your philosophy first, and all right, I'm gonna back up, and I'm just gonna think like some of the people who are out there, and they may not know where their philosophy fits, or they may not even know what that is. And so I'm gonna ask you to maybe help us to figure out, first off, how can we find what our belief and our philosophy is, and then once we have that, then how do we get it out there? How do we market with that practically?
So it's very simple. People complicate this too much. It is very simple, and it comes from self-reflection. We all, obviously, if we don't self-reflect, we're not going to get there. We're not going to figure out what our values are and what we stand for. And it's basically upon self-reflection that we get to see, okay, what is my opinion on life? Just your take on life. What is my opinion on certain issues in life? What is my opinion on parenthood? What is my opinion on starting a business? What is my opinion on what's happening around the world? What's my opinion about politics? Maybe if that's that's where your interest lies. So it's just about gathering your thoughts on all of it, right? And then sharing it with the world, because obviously everybody has their own ideas and opinions and their take on life, and which also means that you're not going to appeal to everyone. But that's the whole idea.
Yes.
That by sharing these ideas, you attract a certain kind and detract from others.
Yes.
And they become your followers. They become your loyal fans. They become your connections. The people who would hang out with you, who would communicate with you, and eventually end up buying from you. And that's why I say to people, do not overcomplicate this. It's just very simple. Share your thoughts and beliefs, your struggles, because everybody struggles. So nobody's life is perfect. So you cannot portray that picture, of hey, look at my $1 million house and my Ferrari. This is what I got from selling what I sell. But also share your struggles, because people want to see, people connect with vulnerability and authenticity. And that's where we have to start from. A lot of people think that it's unnecessary, but if you don't, then it would be very hard to create a following.
Hey, thanks for being someone who is on this journey of purpose with me. And I am with you, my friend, and I've got something for you. Have you ever been moving towards purpose and sometimes it just looks like a big mess? Sure you have. We all have. And the reality is we're usually not going to get to a destination unless we have a roadmap. And that's exactly what I've created. If you will go to purposedrivenexecutive.com, you can get it for free. And this is the culmination of all of my studies, all of my coaching, all of even my own personal living. And I've created a very visual, very easy way for you to map out your purpose. This is for you. This is for people you're leading. This is for your family. Go on over right now, purposedrivenexecutive.com, and get your free map of purpose. Okay. So it's not people. What you're saying is they're like, I'm hearing that they're not attracted to you being perfect at everything,
Yes.
because
No.
we all know that's fake anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But if we're real, then real people are also drawn to that. And by the way, that's who signs real signatures, right? People who buy with real money are real people
Yes,
too. And
exactly.
but being able and being willing to see things with, I've got to tell you, like I do remember that, and sometimes I would say I come against that, right? You've got to have the mindset of abundance and not like there are limited resources, meaning you've got to be willing to say no in your
Yes.
mind to certain people to be able to do that. And that, I think, is sometimes that can be a barrier, wouldn't you say, for people to cross, of saying, well, but I want to serve everyone. But by serving everyone, do you think that we're serving no one?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, and that is a barrier actually for majority of the people starting out. I think I can probably say that 100% of the people I spoke to when they were in their starting off journey, they said the exact same thing. When you ask them, who do you serve? And they'll be like, everybody, because everybody needs my services. Everybody needs my products. Everybody needs my services. And which is so not true. I mean, we can just look at all the brands that we use around us. The like whether it's technology that we use or the clothes that we wear from certain brands. Not everybody uses the same brands, whether it's when it comes to clothing, the food that we eat, or the technology that we use. It's because we are attracted to certain philosophy or value about that brand that makes us buy their products or services. So and for smaller companies, for people just starting out, it's even more necessary because we are nobodies. When we're starting off, we're nobodies. Nobody knows we exist. Nobody knows about our products and services, and there are already hundreds of other products and services out there similar to ours. So how do we stand out? How do we stand out? You don't want to be the cheapest in the market. You can't just, if you want to go down that route, very expensive route and probably not going to last very long. But other than that, if you don't want to do that, the only other way to stand out is by sharing your philosophy, and which would mean that you are only going to work with a niche of a niche group of people rather than everybody. And as soon as you start building that following, you will realize it yourself that actually I do not help everybody, because when you will start to look at the kind of people who are engaging with you, you will realize that they have something in common, and they have something in common with you, and it won't be everybody.
Yeah, I've been reading a book called Blue Ocean Strategy that was recommended by a recent guest. Are you familiar with that?
Oh
And
yes, absolutely.
yeah, and one of the things that that the author says in the book that's just stuck in my brain is, like, you're not going to thrive if you only present yourself as being the competition. You're going to thrive when you are able to show yourself as an alternative. And so what you're like, it's almost like what you're saying is that your personality and who you are and what you believe is really a part of determining what the alternative what alternative is that you're presenting.
Yes, exactly, exactly. It's about you know uh, people have a lot of choices in the day and age that we live in, and it's on their fingertips. They can just go to Google to search for your competitors. So, and everybody will be doing that. So the only way to for you to come up first in their mind is that you have to show up first, right? Show up first. That's the only way that they're not going to end up going to Google and search for, okay, who else is doing this? They may still do when it comes to actually buying a product and service. But the point is that when you show up, you are in front of their mind. So every time they think about a specific topic that you talk about, that they heard about it from someone, or they're interested in that topic, your name will come up first. They'll probably then go to Google and search for with your name or your brand, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to show up so that people start associating us with a certain topic, certain niche, certain expertise, certain philosophy. And when we do that, the competition becomes irrelevant.
Mm, mm. So take us here, Amber. A lot of us, like there are many of us who put out content, right? We have podcasts, we have videos, we have blogs, we have all of those things. But you actually believe that that we can do more by doing less. That a lot of us have already produced what would draw others to us, but maybe that's not being visible. What can we do to bring more visibility to something that we've created? Maybe we've spent a lot of our time, effort, money, and energy creating, and then nobody has seen it. What can we do with that?
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people make this mistake. They think that when they create something awesome, people will, will come running to it. Flocks of people will find it and they'll use it. But that's not actually the case. And it doesn't go to say that whatever content you created, it's not good. It's probably awesome. You probably put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, in the shape of podcasts, videos, or blogs, whatever. But we create it, and then we put it up on the website, or the podcast itself, or on YouTube channel, and we think, okay, now traffic will come, people will come find it, they will find it, and then they'll get to know what I'm talking about or what I stand for. But it often, what happens, we all know that on social media, the content cycles are very, very limited. For example, Instagram, I think a post lasts, I don't know, a few minutes or an hour and it disappears. LinkedIn is 24 hours. Facebook is, I don't know, maybe another 8 hours. And Twitter is just seconds. So, the content disappears and very quickly on social media. So even though we created this awesome content and we think we put it out there, but actually it disappears within minutes and maximum 24 hours, and on average on all the social media platforms. And what we need to be doing is that once we've created that awesome content, don't let it go to waste. Squeeze every drop of juice out of it. And how do you do that? Well, you make sure that you use that awesome piece of content in many different ways on various different social media platforms that you're on, and give it to people in the format that they like to consume. So for example, Instagram is mostly image-based, right? Now they've got videos, the IGTV as well. So the audience there prefers to consume the content in image format mostly. They don't read much text and stuff. Whereas LinkedIn, it actually is a lot about text, and sometimes image or video doesn't even really matter that much. Facebook, again, videos, images do very well, text not so much. But again, all of these platforms have their own formats. Facebook, 2-minute videos work. Anything longer, as the research has proven that your people are not interested in viewing content over 2 minutes long. Whereas YouTube is good for long content, long piece of content. So videos ranging for 5 minutes to 30 minutes or 40 minutes do very well. Twitter is just few characters. I don't know. I don't use Twitter, so I'm not sure it's 180 characters or something like that. So you have to make sure that you put the content that you have produced in ways that is consumable on each platform, and again and again. So not once. It's about sharing it many times, and different pieces from it. So it's not like saying that, or you go on Facebook and say, hey, people, I have written this awesome blog post on how to lose 10 kgs in the next month. Go check it out, right? Okay. When you do that, you've done it once. Now, next time, what are you going to do? Are you going to say the same thing again? Because, that post will disappear within 24 hours. Now, a week later, you want to drive traffic to the same content. You want more people to see it, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to do the same thing? Hey, everybody, I've written this blog post. Come and check it out. It's not going to work. It's repetitive. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't give value, right? The whole idea is that we want to share the value from the content that we've produced on social media, and through that get more eyeballs on our content.
Okay. So take me through this one, Amber. Let's just use a podcast, for example, right? Obviously, 30 or 40-minute podcast doesn't work on really any of those platforms. Like, it's on its own, but it can be parceled out, and all of those things it can create value on these different platforms. Of course, that does create time, or it uses time rather. Like, what should someone be doing with, let's just say they have a podcast. What should they be doing with one episode of that?
So if you have a podcast, and usually podcasts are between 30 minutes to an hour long, that's a long piece of content. And what you should be doing is, instead of just saying, on social media, hey, I just interviewed so-and-so, hey, check out this new episode right here. What podcasters should be doing is slicing and dicing that piece of content into many different valuable pieces that they can share on social media. So knowledge nuggets, I like to call them knowledge nuggets. So all that valuable knowledge or advice that's been shared on that podcast, your guest who shared it with you. Now it's time to slice and dice it into small pieces of content that can be easily consumed on majority of the social media platforms. And that means that from one piece of content, you can create multiple pieces of content to share on social media, which all of them drive traffic to the same original piece of content. That's the beauty of it, that from one long piece of content, you create multiple pieces of content and then share them at different times on different platforms, while all of them drive traffic to the same piece of content, which is what you want to do, right? You want more eyeballs on that piece of content, on that episode, or all of your episodes. You want people to look at those knowledge bites on social media and say, hey, actually, I would like to know more. That sounds very interesting. Let's go listen to the full episode. And then you drive traffic to the original content.
Love it. So take me here. So, like, I'm looking, and let's just say someone is trying to get to the level. Like, I know that you do these things for people. And by the way, there is a huge reason for people to not be taking on the burden of these things alone. And I can tell you just from personal experience, as someone who's functioned in this world, right, confessions of Donnie, is that like, even though you know how to do things, it doesn't mean that you always are going to do them, because it's going to compete for your time. So for instance, maybe you're in the middle of producing a large project, like I am, and then in the middle of all of that, you're not putting out the knowledge nuggets, as you say, or you're not putting out, you have all of these things that are ready to go, but you're not doing it. So you know how to do it, you're not doing it. And so that's where someone like Amber can come along and help you to do it. So, because the reality is when you're absent from any of these social media platforms, they're not very forgiving, are they?
No, exactly. It's all about consistency, unfortunately, on social media platforms, because if you're not consistent, none of those algorithms work in your favor. That's how it is on all media platforms, that you have to be consistent with your messaging, with whatever you're putting out there. And it's not just one type of content. People want to see, not only what I spoke earlier about, not only the how-to content, the educational stuff, but also who you are, what you do. Maybe some engagement posts about, you share your day with your family, and then also about what you do, what you sell. So but it's about staying consistent, because if you don't, unfortunately, algorithms will not work in your favor. People won't find you, and you won't be able to sell your products or services.
Mm. Mm. So take me here. Let's just imagine that I'm someone who I'm not getting the attention that I want, right? I've figured out my philosophy and I want to begin sharing it, and I haven't. Let's just say I haven't, and I'm not. What are give me the down and dirty beginner's tactics of the things that everyone should be doing right now.
Yeah. So I would say focus on one platform first, because every platform works in a different way. And by working in a different way, I mean they're designed to engage with people in different formats. So you have, instead of going in, then when you're starting off and learning about all of those platforms, start with one, because it's a lot of work. Just focus on one. So if LinkedIn is your major platform because maybe you sell B2B, so I would say LinkedIn is the perfect place to start. For some other businesses, especially if you sell physical products or courses, then Facebook is the better platform to start off with. So choose your platform first, one platform, and then you learn about, okay, what works on that platform. So let's say if we say LinkedIn, because you and I met through LinkedIn, if we're talking about LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, before you even posted anything, or let's say you're struggling to figure out what kind of content you want to share, you just start engaging with others. And it works beautifully on LinkedIn. You have to comment. Firstly, you have to connect with the people you want to connect with, who have your audience, the influencers in your niche. You want to follow them, connect with them, and engage with them. Engagement is the key on all platforms, actually. Engagement is one thing which is common on all platforms. You have to engage with the influencers, with people you want to be connected with, because they have your ideal audience. You have to consistently engage with them in the form of commenting and sharing your piece, your knowledge as well. So it's not about, let's say you follow an influencer like, say, Simon Sinek, and you follow him and you read up his content or watch his videos and maybe just click on like, right? Okay, that's good, but it's not helping you, because you're not showing up anywhere, right? Until you comment with a valuable information, a valuable comment, which means something, rather than say, oh, I love your content, or oh, that's good, right? When you share your response, what you got from watching that content or reading that blog, what was your takeaway, or if you have a question for that influencer, right? Yeah. That shows up in the comments, that shows up, and people see it, right? They say, oh, who is this guy? Hey, he's constantly showing up. Every time I read a post from Simon Sinek, this guy's always there. Like, he's always commenting. What is going on, right? When you show up, people start to notice you. And then what happens is that people who see you, they then want to connect with you. And even if they don't, I would say you should be connecting with those people who are also commenting on the same influencer's profile. And that's how you increase your reach, because the more people who like the similar sort of content get connected, they comment on each other's posts, it expands your reach on that social media platform. And what happens actually is that when we're talking about influencers becoming prominent on an influencer's post, people start liking, who follow the same post or same influencers, they start liking your comments. And what happens, when you get enough, you're showing up, you're becoming more visible, your comment starts to come at the top of their comments list. If you've noticed in LinkedIn, it shows up those comments first, which are most liked, or by the other commenters, or by the person who posted it him or herself. So the more people get to see your comments, and what happens is that those people would now start to see your own posts, the whatever now you start to share on LinkedIn, they will get to see in their feed as well. Because we have to understand that not everybody is going to see your post. That's how, there are millions of people on LinkedIn, and maybe you are connected to 100 or 1,000, a couple of thousand, but not everybody that is connected to you is going to see that post. Only those you have engaged with, or they have engaged with you, or they have seen you on somebody else's post, they are the ones who will probably get to see you or start seeing you in the newsfeed, in their feed, and then they'll start engaging. And that's how you basically increase your reach on LinkedIn.
Amber, thank you for putting social back into social media. This is not, too many people say, oh, I'm going to put a billboard here, or I'm just going to give my sales message here, or whatever. But the reality is yeah, you need to show up as authentic. But one of the easiest places to do that is, and I, you know what, I'm just going to say this right now. Like, someone pause it right here, go do this, go to LinkedIn, and you can search content. You can search people who are using terms that matter to you. So for me, one of the ones that matter, and actually where I found you, is when I did purpose. I typed in purpose into there. It's a big deal to me. And then when I saw that, here's Amber, and I read this, I read that, I read some, like, and suddenly I find someone who thinks like I do. Her comments matter to me. My comments matter to her. And it's just really the most native way to begin a conversation of value. Now, like I don't, this wasn't about business. This is just about connecting with people who believe the same things. And I believe, by the way, that when we find our tribe, whoever has the most friends wins. Like, there's momentum in connecting with people who are similar to you, because even if you don't do business with that person, which isn't really the biggest reason to do it, it's not super likely all the time. Often when you connect, they may know someone that might help you, or you might know someone that helps them. And just like at the beginning of this call, I'm like, oh, I know someone that you need to meet, Amber. And to me, that's the value of creating spark, and frankly, just by doing relevant comments, not trying to cut business, but just commenting in a genuine way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's all about, if we start off from that mindset, oh, okay, I only want to connect with that person if he or she wants to do business with me, right? If we start off with that mindset, that relationship isn't going to go anywhere, right? Because we're not starting from the place of giving value first. We're not actually starting off from what we actually believe in, because we value certain things, but we don't put them into action. A lot of us, and that's where things go wrong. When if we start off from the place that I've got something, I've got knowledge, information about certain topic or certain niche, and I want to share. I want to share it with the wider world. And if I can help somebody along the way, great. If not, then I still know that I'm doing good. What I've learned, I don't want to keep it within me. I want to share it with the wider world. And eventually, those who believe in you and trust you, because you have shared your philosophies, your values with them, they're going to come. In marketing, what is called the inbound marketing effect, right? Because then people, when you show up, people start to see the kind of stuff you're putting out there, and they're attracted to what you are saying, right? Then they come to you for inquiries. If they want something, they come to you. Hey, I was thinking about this. Would you be interested? Or, hey, I actually need something doing. Could you help me out? Or, hey, I've got a podcast. I would love to have you on my podcast. So, then when you show up, people start reaching you instead of you having to go out and look for them.
So true and so cool. And here's the reality. There's plenty of business out there. There are plenty of opportunities. There are plenty of people who you will be a fit for. Just go make a friend. Go share what you believe. Go find others who believe the same thing. and see how you can just go love on some people, make a friend, and watch what happens. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, this
And
doesn't,
what would happen?
sales becomes an act of war when you make it an act of war, but it can be an act
Absolutely.
of love, right? We can make this thing an act of love. And it's yeah, that, like, to me, that's what hanging out with you is. Like, oh, I get to hang out with a cool person. That's honestly why, that's why I have a podcast. And
Well, I'm glad you think of me as cool.
I definitely do. I definitely do. So, obviously, a big fan of the name Repurpose Den. I'm a fan of who you serve. And Amber, if you can give us maybe some parting words, and maybe speaking to the people who are right now, they're locked in. We're in the middle, hopefully on the tail end of this COVID-19 stuff. And who
Mhm.
knows? And maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. But there's opportunity. There's opportunity to love on some people and to serve some people. And if you could maybe give us a word of encouragement on the way out. And Amber, tell us how we can connect with you.
Okay, sure. Well, I personally believe that now is the greatest time in history for purpose-driven leaders to build meaningful connections with like-minded people who believe in you, what you stand for, and what you can deliver using social media content. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. So I would say right now, this is the time. Get on it, make a commitment, and go for it. Don't think too much about it. Don't overcomplicate this. Just just commit to it, and put it out there. Just just share, you know, whatever your personal stories, what you're going through. Just share it with the wider world, and you will start to see the momentum build up, and just take it from there. Now is the time to do so because we're all in a lockdown. Not much is happening, and all of us have got access to cameras and mics at home. Everybody is on video calls these days. So just it's up until now you've been procrastinating about it, and well, stop right now. This is the time. Commit yourself to this process, and go for it.
Love it. And where can we find you? Where do you want people to interact with you, Amber?
Oh, sure. Well, best way to connect with me would be LinkedIn. And if you want to find out more about the repurposing content services, they can check out repurposedriven.com. Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me personally on LinkedIn. That'd be fantastic, and maybe read some of my stuff there to find out more about myself. But yes, that would be the best way.